In another TigerFleet help file, we went through how to import fuel data for our fleet. Now, I've recently done one, and I've started to go through and edit my records to add the employee who was responsible for the fuel up. Unfortunately, we can't do that during the import process because the spreadsheet you might be importing from might have a slightly different spelling of the person's name, or just use initial, or something that make it not match up with the employee's name within TigerFleet. And if that happened, we'd get a lot of fails on our import, and that's just going to be annoying. If we can figure out how to do this better, we will, but for the time being, you can manually add the employee or not worry about it at all if it's not important. The other thing I wanted to go through is this red flag that appears on different entries from time to time. Now, the red flags basically mean that that particular fuel entry has some data that doesn't really line up with the other records for that vehicle. In this particular one here, it's saying that the average kilometres per litre for this fuel up is lower than the average for the life of the vehicle. There's another one here which is quite a bit lower again, and one here that's a bit higher. If I look at the overall average of that vehicle though, for long term, I can see up here that it's 14.31. If I scan down through that column just quickly, it seems to me that 14.31 is just about right. So this errant fuel entry was probably just because of not a complete tank being put in, or some closer fuel entries happening together, things like that. The other thing that can affect this is the odometer reading that's been entered. Now, sometimes digits get transposed, or a wrong entry gets put in altogether, or sometimes they get left out altogether. If you can see that there's a problem there, you simply just go into the record, click edit, and you can change that odometer reading. You can also change things like fuel and the cost of the fuel, but basically that's stuff that we've got from the spreadsheet to start with, and we're relying on our fuel provider to make sure that those figures are accurate. One thing I should point out that whenever we refer to costs within TigerFleet, they should be GST exclusive, because the GST portion of the bill is something that gets handed back to the ATO, so it doesn't really relate to the real cost of fuel. Once we've made our changes, we can save or cancel in this case, and we can go through the rest of them and keep going.